Good, happy Wednesday morning, April 13, 2022. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, Auburn business owner brings medical supplies to Ukraine. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
My old roof was an asphalt roof. It was really starting to look ragged. It's an island house. I wanted it to blend in.
Andre Iliak owns a car dealership in Auburn. He's also the president of nonprofit The Loving Lifeline. His goal in Ukraine to donate 100% of funds and to make the most of every single dollar.
For me, money is nothing. It doesn't do anything for me, besides giving me somewhat of a comfortable life. My conscience, I have to live with it.
Now, Auburn business owner and Loving Lifeline nonprofit president Andre Iliak is in war-torn Ukraine, leaving, for the time being, his work and comfortable life behind.
I'm a father. I have 2 kids. I can't look when there's little kids that have nothing to eat. Or yesterday there was a story how a little kid was bringing food to the grave of his mother because his mother starved and she gave all the food to him.
Iliak is partnering with local businessmen and pastors, brainstorming how people still in the area can buy local and in return help provide jobs for those in need.
We're combining all together just to, in a sense, try to move some mountains.
He's sent containers of supplies. He's in the western side of the country now, but plans to move east in the coming days to more volatile territory. Iliak even plans to bring goods straight to the front line. As for where he gets his courage, he says that comes from his people.
Their spirit hasn't dwindled. They're in full spirits. They're motivated. Everybody's doing everything they can. Everybody's helping with anything they can.
And Iliak says when the conflict first started, he thinks that's when the support was the strongest, but worries it's waning a bit, and it's tough for people who are running out of money. If you're interested in helping, we have more info on this story on our website and mobile app. Reporting live, Grace Finerman, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. As COVID-19 cases rise, New Hampshire health experts say impact not as great. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
My old roof was an asphalt roof. It was really starting to look ragged. It's an island house. I wanted it to blend in better, so I decided to go with a metal roof. I actually went to rubber metal.
Well, here at Catholic Medical Center, COVID hospitalizations are in the single digits, and that's actually good news in light of overall COVID cases on the rise.
The Omicron BA2 subvariant is driving up cases in the Northeast, but New Hampshire's governor says COVID remains manageable.
If something were to happen down the road, of course, we'll be right on top of it, but we feel very, very confident that we're putting COVID in the rearview mirror.
Health officials say BA2 is more transmissible, but less severe compared to other variants. The state's 7-day average of new COVID cases is 202, the first time that number has surpassed 200 since March 2nd. But COVID-positive patients in the hospital remain at 40.
We are seeing that those hospitalized patients are older. They're higher risk adults. And so this certainly points to the need for us to continue being vigilant about getting boosters.
With vaccines, testing, and therapeutics readily available, health officials say the outlook is more optimistic compared to prior surges.
So we're in a much different situation than we were throughout the winter, even with a slight uptick in cases over the last couple of days.
Still, it appears COVID isn't done, even if most people are done with it.
We're going to have COVID just like we have influenza and have some of those other viral infections that we have to take the measures to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
The challenge for us is to avoid complacency and say it's over. We don't have to worry about these things anymore, but to stay steadfast to the things that we know do help. So.
And among those things, get tested if you've been exposed to the virus, and if positive, stay home. Health officials say it's also a good idea for high-risk people to consider wearing a mask while indoors at public places. Reporting live in Manchester, Mike Cronin, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Opioid overdoses increase to pre-pandemic levels in Manchester and Nashua. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Now's the time to get a great deal on taking care of your property. You need the #1 rated.
In the state of addiction tonight, paramedics say opioid overdoses are nearing pre-pandemic levels in the Granite State's two largest cities. Manchester had 55 suspected overdoses in March, 11 more than from February. There were 6 suspected overdose deaths last month, bringing the total for the year to 15. In Nashua, suspected overdoses fell by 7 to 12. There was also 1 suspected death, the 12th of the year.
We were very lucky in New Hampshire to see a significant decrease in opioid overdoses during the pandemic time. And now we're back to where we were. So we had made some great strides to get to that point. And unfortunately, we're going to have to continue to make them going forward.
So far this year, overdoses in the two cities total 225. That compares to 160 for the first 3 months of 2020 and 166 for the 3 months of last year.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. A strange wife of Harmony Montgomery's father faces new charges. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The past year has tested the toughness of every last one of us. The head retractors have been there for...
We need to have better communication between the states so we don't have another incident like Harmony Montgomery get away from us.
In 2019, a Massachusetts judge granted full legal custody of Harmony Montgomery to her father in New Hampshire. The swift decision rendered DCYF's effort to conduct a home study moot.
Now we don't know where this little girl is, and we should be doing everything in our power to make sure this never happens again.
The stunning realization announced by police on New Year's Eve last year that Harmony had not been seen in 2 years exposed weaknesses in the Interstate Compact Agreement.
So what's happened in the last 2 years? Fair question, all right? That's why I'm here today, because we need assistance, we need help.
State lawmakers are working to make a change right now, but interstate compacts require 35 states to agree before becoming effective. So an amendment was introduced in committee that would mandate a home study for any New Hampshire foster child being placed in foster care across state lines. The amendment would be effective immediately and not have to wait for 35 states to agree.
That child's safe, that child's not going to get lost in the system somewhere because they've moved across state lines.
The amendment was sent to subcommittee this afternoon. Governor Sununu sent a letter urging support of this amendment. We're live in Concord this evening. Amy Cavino, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. For more COVID-19 deaths, some from months ago announced in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
My old roof was an asphalt roof. It was really starting to look ragged. It's an island house. I wanted it to blend in better. So
To the pandemic now, New Hampshire is now averaging over 200 new cases of COVID-19 per day. That's the highest since March 2nd. There are 158 new cases to report as active cases sit at 1,500. 4 new deaths to report as well, 3 just confirmed from more than 2 weeks ago. 40 COVID-positive patients are in New Hampshire hospitals right now. 15 are receiving COVID-specific treatment.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. FBI ATF joined urgent search for New York City Subway gunman. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The investigation and the manhunt underway right now. The NYPD is surging forces. The FBI is here too. And tonight, what they have found right here on the scene and more on the suspect and this vehicle they're now zeroing in on tonight. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas now.
Tonight, police closing in on this U-Haul vehicle. Authorities say it's tied to that person of interest, Frank James.
The male, who we believe is the renter of this U-Haul in Philadelphia, is a Frank R. James, male, 62 years old, with addresses in Wisconsin and Philadelphia. We are endeavoring to locate him to determine his connection to the subway shooting, if any.
A law enforcement bulletin obtained by ABC News calling this a coordinated attack, believing it was clearly planned, but motives remain unclear. Authorities have not confirmed if there were any accomplices. What is clear, according to a senior law enforcement official, is that the shooter came prepared and fired indiscriminately into the smoke, apparently intending to kill as many people as possible. Today's shooting comes amid a spike in crime in many major cities. In New York City, subway crime up more than 52%, and overall crime rising more than 36% from this time last year. Across the city, just last week, a 16-year-old girl was shot and killed walking home from school. In January, 2 NYPD officers were killed while responding to a domestic dispute. Today, Governor Kathy Hochul saying New Yorkers are tired of the spike in crime.
The people of the entire state of New York stand with the people of this city, this community, and we say no more.
And Pierre Thomas with us now from outside the FBI. And Pierre, what are your sources telling you tonight about where this investigation stands?
David, authorities are sifting through evidence looking for any possible fingerprints on the recovered gun and other items discovered at the scene. And they're looking through video from witnesses and surrounding businesses, hunting for anything pointing to a suspect. Of key interest tonight, that U-Haul. Was it tied to the suspect? And they're focusing on a credit card found at the scene. David?
Pierre, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stefano.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.